be me writer, or at least that's what I tell people at parties. I have a blog, a decent following. I write about society, culture, relationships. Mainly I write about the problems, and a lot of the problems I see trace back to men. It's not a popular opinion in some circles, but in mine, it's basically gospel. Men are broken. They carry around this baggage from a bygone era, this toxic masculinity thing, and it makes them emotionally constipated. They can't communicate, they can't process their feelings, they just sort of short circuit. My younger brother Dennis is Exhibit A. He's a good kid, I guess, harmless. But he drifts through life like a plastic bag in the wind. He's the living embodiment of my thesis. A few months back, he calls me. His voice is all shaky. Asks if we can get coffee. This is a red alert. Dennis never initiates contact unless his world is on fire. I agree, mentally preparing my talking points and supportive yet firm advice. We meet at some place that smells like burnt coffee and regret. He's sitting there, hunched over the table, looks like he hasn't slept in days. His girlfriend of about a year, maybe a bit more, just broke up with him. He mumbles the details into his cup. She said he wasn't going anywhere, that he had no ambition, that she felt like she was his mother, not his partner. Classic. I've written this exact article 3 different times. He's looking at me, expecting sympathy. A hug, maybe. She was crazy anyway, bro. That's not how I operate. Coddling him would be part of the problem. I take a sip of my latte. I explain to him that the issue isn't his ex. The issue is him. It's the programming he's received his whole life. Be a man. Don't show weakness. Don't talk about feelings. This is the result. A man-child who can't articulate his own goals, so he expects a woman to build a life for him. I tell him he needs to do the work, to unpack his emotional baggage. He needs to learn to be vulnerable, to communicate his needs instead of just being passive. I'm laying it all out, a perfect roadmap to becoming a functional modern man. I'm giving him gold, stuff people pay therapists a fortune for. And he just sits there. He's not nodding, he's not arguing, he's just gone. His eyes are glassy. He just shrinks into his chair. After I'm done, there's this long, awkward silence. He just says, "I paid for half the rent. I cook dinner most nights. I thought that was enough." MFW. He completely misses the point. It's not about chores, Dennis. It's about emotional labor. I try to explain that concept to him, but it's like talking to a brick wall. He just nods slowly, finishes his cold coffee, and says he has to go. He walks away and I just feel this profound sense of disappointment. He's so close to understanding, but he just refuses to see it. He's a lost cause. I go home, fired up. My brother's pain is tragic, but it's also great material. I sit down and bang out a new blog post. Title, Why Modern Men Are Projects, Not Partners. I use Dennis's situation as the central anecdote, changing a few details to protect his privacy. I write about how women are tired of being rehabilitation centers for emotionally stunted men, how we're expected to be their cheerleaders, their mothers, their secretaries, and their therapists. I hit publish. It explodes. My DMs are flooded. Comments pour in. This is my life. Thank you for putting this into words. Just sent this to my boyfriend. He needs to read it. My friends are all sharing it. We have a group chat that's just buzzing with validation. We're all in the same boat dealing with these broken men. It feels good. It feels like I'm not just complaining, I'm starting a conversation. I'm helping. In the middle of my victory lap, I realize something. Dennis hasn't texted me back. I sent him a link to the article. Thought this might give you some perspective. No reply. I call him a day later, straight to voicemail. Another day, another call, voicemail. Okay, so he's mad. He's sulking because I told him the truth. Typical. Avoidance. Another symptom of the same disease. I figure he'll get over it. A week goes by, then 2. The silence starts to feel less like sulking and more like a void. I start to get a little worried, not because I think I was wrong, but because he's fragile. Maybe my truth bomb was too much for his delicate male ego. I decide to drive over to his apartment, the surprise wellness check. I have the spare key he gave me for emergencies. This feels like one. I let myself in. The apartment is silent and clean. Too clean, like moving out clean. There's no clutter, the dishes are done, the bed is made. It feels cold, unlived in. On the kitchen counter, there's a single folded piece of paper. My name is on it. My heart does a little jump. I open it. It's not a letter, it's a note. Went away for a while. Need to sort my head out. Don't look for me. That's it. No explanation, no love, Dennis. Nothing. My worry instantly turns to anger. How dare he? How childish. This is the ultimate act of passive aggression, running away from his problems instead of facing them. He's literally proving every single point I made in my article. The irony is so thick I could choke on it. I'm fuming. I call our parents. They haven't heard from him either. They're worried. I tell them he's just being dramatic. But don't look for me is a challenge. Of course I'm going to look for him. He clearly needs to be rescued from himself. I start my online detective work. His own social media is a dead end. He hasn't posted in months. I start going through the profiles of his friends, his co-workers, anyone who might have seen him. It takes a few days of scrolling through endless photos of dogs and brunches. Then I find it. A photo from a barbecue, posted by some guy Dennis used to work with. It's a group shot, about a dozen people in a backyard. And there, in the back, off to the side, is Dennis. He looks different. He's wearing work boots and jeans covered in a fine layer of dust. His t-shirt has a grease stain on it. He's not smiling, but he's not miserable either. He's just standing there, solid. His shoulders are back. He's holding a bottle of beer and listening to some older guy next to him. The most striking thing is his expression. It's calm, focused. I zoom in on the background. Behind them is a large brick building, an old warehouse or something. There's a faded logo on the wall. I can just make out the name of some defunct manufacturing company. I Google it. The address comes up. It's in an industrial park on the other side of town, the forgotten part. The part of town you only go to if you need a new transmission or want to dump a body. What the hell, GIF? What is he doing there? My mind starts racing. Is it a cult? Some weird men's rights group? One of those places where bitter guys get together to complain about women and learn pickup artist tricks? The thought makes my skin crawl. They got to him. They preyed on him when he was vulnerable. My rescue mission just became a hostage negotiation. The next day I drive out there. The GPS takes me through crumbling neighborhoods and past boarded-up storefronts. Finally, I arrive at the industrial park. It's a ghost town of concrete and rust. I find the building from the photo. It's an old, ugly brick box with high, grimy windows. There are a few dusty trucks and older cars parked out front. I park my own clean, sensible car a short distance away, feeling completely out of place. I sit there for a few minutes, trying to figure out a plan. Do I just walk in? Call the police? I decide to just reconnoiter first. A little surveillance. I get out and walk casually towards the building, pretending to be on my phone. One of the large roll-up garage doors is open about halfway. I can hear sounds coming from inside, the clank of metal, the hum of some kind of machine, the low murmur of voices. No chanting, no angry speeches, just work sounds. I get closer, my heart pounding. I peek through the gap under the door. My brain short-circuits. It's not a cult meeting, it's a workshop. A massive, sprawling, honest-to-God workshop. The space is filled with workbenches, tools, and half-finished projects. In one corner, a guy in his 50s is meticulously reassembling a motorcycle engine. Every piece is laid out on a clean cloth. In the center, two other guys are building a huge wooden table. The air smells like sawdust. And over by a car lift, there's Dennis. He's leaning over the open hood of an old pickup truck. Next to him is an older guy, maybe in his 40s. He's pointing at something in the engine bay, explaining. This must be Ronald, the guy from the picture. Dennis is listening intently, holding a wrench. He nods, then leans in and tightens something. He moves with a purpose I've never seen in him before. There are maybe a dozen guys in there, all different ages. They're not talking much, they're just working. Some work together, some work on their own projects. The atmosphere is quiet, focused, and weirdly peaceful. I'm just standing there, crouched by a dusty garage door, completely baffled. This makes no sense. Where is the bitterness? Where is the resentment? They're supposed to be in here, circle-jerking their grievances about the modern world. Instead, they're fixing things, building things. I see Dennis wipe his greasy hands on a rag. Ronald claps him on the shoulder and says something. Dennis actually cracks a small smile. Not a big happy smile, just a little satisfied smirk. The kind of smile you get when you've just figured something out. I feel this bizarre pang of something. Jealousy? I don't know. I back away from the door before anyone sees me. I get back in my car and my mind is a mess. This wasn't the plan. My entire narrative was that he'd run away to a toxic echo chamber to have his worst instincts validated. But this place, it doesn't feel toxic. It feels productive. I drive home in a daze. My righteous anger is gone. Now I'm just confused. I need to talk to him. I need to understand what this place is. I decide to try a different approach. No more ambushes. I send him a text. Hey, I know where you are. I was worried. Can we talk? I stare at my phone for an hour. Then, 3 dots appear. He's typing. The message comes through. I'm fine. There's nothing to talk about. That's it. Blunt, dismissive. The old Dennis would have sent a long, rambling, apologetic text. This new Dennis is direct. And that scares me more than the anger I was expecting. I text back, I just want to understand, Dennis. No reply. The next day I go back. I can't stay away. It's like a puzzle I have to solve. This time, I don't hide. I park my car and walk right up to the open door. I stand there, arms crossed, waiting for someone to notice me. It takes a minute. They're all absorbed in their work. Finally, Ronald, the older guy, looks up. He sees me. He doesn't look surprised or angry. He just looks curious. He wipes his hands on a rag and walks over. He's not physically intimidating, but he has this aura of calm competence. Can I help you? He asks. His voice is even. I'm looking for my brother, Dennis. He glances over his shoulder at Dennis, who is still focused on the truck engine. He hasn't seen me yet. He's here, Ronald says. Is there a problem? Yes, there's a problem, I say, my voice a little sharper than I intended. What is this place? What are you doing to him? He raises an eyebrow. We're fixing a carburetor, he says, deadpan. Dennis finally hears my voice and looks up. His face doesn't register shock or happiness. It's just a blank slate. He puts his wrench down and walks over, wiping his hands. Jill, you shouldn't be here. I was worried about you, Dennis. You just disappeared. I left you a note. I said I was fine. This isn't fine. What is this place? It's like some weird boys' club. Ronald just stands there, watching us like we're a tennis match. Dennis sighs. It's the sigh of someone who is tired, not of work, but of this specific conversation. It's a workshop, he says. That's it. It's just a workshop. And what do you do here? Complain about how hard it is to be a man in 2023? The question hangs in the air. A few of the other guys have stopped working to look at us. Dennis doesn't get angry. He just looks at me with something like pity. No, he says, his voice quiet but firm. We don't talk about women at all. I don't believe you. You don't have to. I'm busy, Jill. I have to get back to work. He turns his back on me and walks back to the truck. Just like that. He dismissed me. I'm left standing there with Ronald, feeling like an idiot. I turn to him, my last resort. What did you say to him? What did you do? Ronald looks at me, and for the first time, I see a flicker of emotion in his eyes. It's not anger. It's a kind of weary sadness. I didn't do anything, ma'am, he says. Your brother came here a few weeks ago. He said he wanted to learn how to fix his own car because he was tired of being helpless. He gestures around the workshop. That's all we do here. We teach each other how to be less helpless. That's the whole program. He turns and walks back into the workshop, leaving me alone in the doorway. The sounds of work start up again. They've already forgotten I'm here. I'm irrelevant to them. I get in my car and just sit there, my mind a blank. The narrative is shattered. My theories are turning to dust. He wasn't broken, he was helpless. And he found a way to fix it, without any of my brilliant insights, without any of my emotional labor. He just picked up a wrench. I drive home on autopilot. The whole way back, my brain is trying to reassemble my shattered worldview. He wasn't broken, he was helpless. The words echo in my head. It's a subtle distinction, but it feels like the difference between a puddle and an ocean. I get to my apartment, a place I've always considered a sanctuary of enlightened thought. Now, it just feels like a quiet, sterile box. I immediately text my friends in the group chat. I need my echo chamber back. You guys will not believe what just happened with my brother. I give them the whole story, the disappearance, the note, the weird industrial park. I describe the workshop, the tools, the silent men working. I tell them what Ronald said. We teach each other how to be less helpless. I expect them to be as horrified as I was. Their reactions are exactly what I need. OMG, that's a cult. It's a MG Tau breeding ground. He's being radicalized. That Ronald guy sounds like a manipulative predator. They target vulnerable men. Their words are like a balm on my confusion. Okay, good. My initial instincts were correct. This place is dangerous. Dennis isn't getting better. He's getting brainwashed. His calmness wasn't peace. It was indoctrination. My mission to save him is back on. My friends and I spend the next hour brainstorming. We decide I need to gather evidence. I need to expose this place for what it is. I need to find the dark underbelly that I know must be there. So, I start digging. I look up the property records for the warehouse. It's owned by a shell corporation with a generic name, Dead End. I try to find Ronald online. No social media, no digital footprint at all, aside from public records. It's like he doesn't exist after 1995. This is suspicious, very suspicious. Only criminals and cult leaders are this offline. My next step is surveillance. I can't just sit outside in my car again. They'll recognize it. So I park down the street and walk, hiding behind other industrial buildings, feeling like a spy in a bad movie. I watch them for a few days, a couple of hours at a time after I finish my own work. What I see is aggressively, infuriatingly boring. I see them arrive in the morning, separately. I see them work. They listen to an old rock station on a dusty radio. I see them eat lunch together, sitting on old crates and oil drums. They don't talk much. They just eat. I see a delivery truck bring them a load of lumber. They all pitch in to unload it. One afternoon, an old woman who lives in a tiny house nearby comes over. Her fence has fallen down. Ronald and two other guys go over with a toolbox and some spare wood. They fix her fence in under an hour. She brings them a plate of cookies. This is not the evidence I was looking for. These aren't the actions of a hateful, misogynistic cult. They're acting like good neighbors. My frustration grows with every passing day. Meanwhile, my own world is starting to feel a little less stable. My friend Sarah is having another huge fight with her boyfriend because he won't open up about his fear of commitment. My friend Megan is complaining that her boss, a woman, is creating a toxic work environment by expecting her to do her job. Our group chat, once a source of validation, is starting to feel like a merry-go-round of the same unsolvable problems. We talk endlessly. We deconstruct every interaction, analyze every text message, pathologize every male behavior. But nothing ever changes. The problems are always there. One night, I'm at a bar with Sarah. She's crying into her overpriced cocktail. Her boyfriend finally opened up. He told her he's not afraid of commitment. He's just not sure he wants to commit to her. This is somehow worse. I give her all the standard advice. He's emotionally manipulating you. You deserve better. He needs to work on himself. The same words I said to Dennis. They sound hollow now. As I'm sitting there, listening to her, I see Dennis. He's across the street, walking out of an auto parts store. He's with one of the younger guys from the workshop. They're carrying a heavy-looking box between them. They're laughing about something. Dennis looks healthy. He's gained some weight, some muscle. He stands up straight. He doesn't look like a project. He looks like a man who knows how to do things. He doesn't see me. He and his friend load the box into the back of that same old pickup truck and drive off. I feel a knot in my stomach. Sarah is still talking. And he just doesn't get that his inability to be vulnerable is the real problem. I'm not listening anymore. I'm just thinking about Dennis laughing, carrying that heavy box. He fixed the problem, but he didn't fix himself. He fixed his environment. He removed himself from the game. I decide I have to try one more time, a different tactic. No accusations, no ideology. Just a sister talking to her brother. I wait until a Saturday afternoon. I drive to the workshop. This time, I bring a peace offering, a box of expensive donuts. I walk up to the open door. Ronald sees me first. He gives me a small, cautious nod. Dennis looks up. When he sees me, he just sighs. He's not angry, just burdened. I hold up the box. I brought donuts. A few of the younger guys perk up. Dennis walks over. What do you want, Jill? I want to talk, and I wanted to apologize. I was worried. I handled it badly. This seems to soften him a little. Okay, he says. We're on a break anyway. He takes the box and puts it on a workbench. A few guys come over and grab one, murmuring thanks. He and I stand awkwardly off to the side. I try to make small talk. So, what are you working on? He points to the pickup. The transmission was slipping. We're rebuilding it. We? Ronald showed me how. Now I'm helping him do it. Next time, I can do it myself. There's a quiet pride in his voice that I've never heard before. That's cool, I say, feeling lame. So, this is what you do all day? Fix cars? Sometimes cars, sometimes we work on the building. Sometimes we build furniture for people. Someone's always got a project. And that's it? That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing, he says, his patience clearly wearing thin. Look, what do you really want? I take a deep breath. I want to understand why you think this is better than working on yourself, dealing with your emotions. He actually lets out a short, bitter laugh. I tried that, he says. I spent years working on myself. I listened to every piece of advice you gave me. I tried to be vulnerable. I tried to communicate. He looks me straight in the eye. And you know what it got me? It got me dumped for not being ambitious enough. It got me a lecture from my own sister while I was at my lowest point. It got me told, over and over, that I was broken. He gestures around the workshop. Here, nobody tells me I'm broken. They just hand me a wrench and tell me how to fix what's in front of me. I have no answer to that. He sees it. He sees that I'm speechless. I'm not broken, Jill, he says, his voice softer now. I was just playing the wrong game, so I quit. He takes a bite of a donut. Thanks for these, by the way. It was nice of you. He turns and walks back to the group, leaving me standing there again. This time, it feels final. I drive home, and the world feels tilted on its axis. My entire career, my entire belief system, is built on the idea that men need to change, that they need to be more like women, more communicative, more emotionally intelligent. But what if they don't? What if they just need a workshop? What if they need a space where they can be competent, useful, and respected for what they can do, not for what they can say? The thought is terrifying. It undermines everything. A few days later, my world literally starts to fall apart. I'm working at home, and I hear a dripping sound. A pipe under my kitchen sink has sprung a leak, a nasty one. Water is pooling on my floor, threatening my nice hardwood. I do what any self-sufficient modern woman does. I panic. I put a bucket under it. The bucket fills up in minutes. I try to turn the little valve under the sink. It won't budge. It's rusted shut. I call my building superintendent. Voicemail. Of course, I call a plumber. The earliest they can come is tomorrow afternoon. And it'll be a $400 emergency call-out fee. I'm standing in my kitchen with a rapidly growing puddle, feeling completely, utterly helpless. The irony is a physical blow. It knocks the wind out of me. I know what I have to do. I hate it. I hate every single thing about it. My fingers are trembling as I pull up Dennis's number. I dial. It rings twice. Hello? Dennis, it's Jill. I have a huge favor to ask. I have an emergency. There's a pause on the other end. What kind of emergency? I explain the situation, my voice full of a shame I can't hide. I feel like a child. Okay, he says. His voice is calm, matter of fact. Shut off the main water valve for your apartment. It's probably in a closet near the front door. I'll be there in 20 minutes. He hangs up. I find the main valve. It's stiff, but I manage to turn it. The leak stops. Exactly 20 minutes later, my doorbell rings. It's Dennis. He's holding a heavy-looking toolbox. He's not smiling. He's not smirking. He's not here to gloat. He just looks at me and says, "Where is it?" I lead him to the kitchen. He kneels down, looks under the sink, and lets out a low whistle. "Yeah, that's bad," he says. For the next hour, I watch him work. He moves with an efficiency and confidence that is completely alien to me. He has the right tool for everything. He knows the names of all the parts. He lays out a towel to keep the floor clean. He works quickly and quietly. I offer him a drink. He just asks for a glass of water. I feel like a useless guest in my own home. My job is to sit at a computer and rearrange words. His job, right now, is to stop my world from flooding. He replaces the burst pipe and 2 of the fittings. He even tightens a loose faucet I'd been ignoring for months. When he's done, he turns the main valve back on. He checks for leaks. There are none. He packs up his tools. The whole operation took less than an hour. "You should be good now," he says. I'm standing there, overwhelmed with a mixture of gratitude and humiliation. Thank you, I say. Seriously, you saved me. What do I owe you? He shakes his head. Don't worry about it. The parts were only a few bucks. I had them in the truck. He starts to walk to the door. I have to say something. Dennis, wait. He turns. Where did you learn how to do all that? He gives me a small, tired smile. At the workshop, he says. A guy there, an old plumber, he taught us. Said it was a skill every man should have. He opens the door. I gotta go. Ronald's holding a class on basic electrical. And he leaves. I stand in my silent, dry kitchen. The problem is solved. A man came and fixed it. My broken, useless, emotionally stunted little brother. I look at my hands. They're soft. They type. They can't fix a leaky pipe. I look at my bookshelf, full of books about feminist theory and social deconstruction. None of them could have told me how to stop the water. For the first time in a very long time, I feel a profound, terrifying doubt. Not doubt about Dennis. Or about men. Doubt about myself. What if I'm the one who's broken? I don't call Dennis back to thank him again. I don't know what to say. Thanks for possessing the basic life skills my education and ideology never gave me. Instead, I retreat into my world of words and theories. I go to my group chat. I have to process this with my friends. I lay it all out for them. The leak, the panic, the call, Dennis showing up like some kind of post-apocalyptic plumber. How he just fixed it. No drama, no lecture. I'm trying to convey the feeling of it, the profound sense of competence he radiated. I wait for them to see what I see, to acknowledge the shift. The replies start to roll in. They are not what I expect. Sarah says, he's just performing competence. It's a classic male defense mechanism. When they feel emotionally inadequate, they overcompensate with practical skills. Megan adds, be careful, Jill. He's probably going to hold this over you. Men use favors like currency. Another friend chimes in, you shouldn't have called him. It reinforces the dynamic of female helplessness. They're trying to explain it away, to file it under a familiar heading. They are trying to fit this new Dennis into the old box labeled broken man. But he doesn't fit anymore. The box is what's broken. I don't argue with them. I just close the chat. For the first time, their validation feels like poison. It's an echo chamber designed to keep us comfortable in our own helplessness. I try to write. It's my job. It's who I am. I open my blog. I stare at the draft of a post I was working on. It's titled, The Emotional Desert, Why Men Can't Nurture. I read the first paragraph. It feels like a lie. A stupid, childish lie. I can't write it. The words feel like ash in my mouth. Dennis wasn't nurturing my feelings when he fixed my sink. He was nurturing my survival. Which one is actually more important? My life starts to feel like it's in black and white, while somewhere across town, Dennis is living in color. I become a ghost, a lurker. I find myself driving past the workshop sometimes. Not to spy, just to see. I see them building a wheelchair ramp for the old lady with the fence. They don't make a big deal about it. They just do it. I see them starting what looks like a small business. They've restored a bunch of old furniture and are selling it on the side of the road. People are actually stopping and buying it. They are turning rust into money, turning their skills into value. They are building a world, while I am deconstructing one. My friends' lives continue their downward spiral of drama. Sarah finally breaks up with her boyfriend. She's devastated, but also weirdly triumphant. She can now fully embrace her victimhood. Her social media becomes a shrine to her emotional trauma. Megan gets fired. She claims her boss was creating a hostile environment. The truth is, she was just bad at her job. My own life is stagnant. My blog posts are infrequent and lack their old fire. My followers are noticing. I feel like I'm sitting in a waiting room, but I don't know what I'm waiting for. Then, the storm comes. It's not just a storm, it's a weather event, the kind they give a name to. The sky turns a sickly green-gray. The wind starts to howl. The alerts start screaming on my phone. Tornado watch, flash flood warning, seek shelter immediately. I live on the 3rd floor of my apartment building. I'm safe, mostly. But then the power goes out. The whole building goes dark and silent, except for the roar of the wind and the lashing of the rain. My phone still has a signal, for now. The group chat lights up. It's pure chaos. My power is out. I'm scared. I can't believe this is happening. My landlord isn't answering his phone. They are all typing into the void, their words a digital substitute for action. They are all helpless, and so am I. I go to my window and look out at the city. It's a blackout, a vast sea of darkness, punctuated by the occasional flash of lightning. But then I see it. Across town, in the direction of the industrial park, a small, steady pool of light. A single point of order in the chaos. The workshop. They have a generator. Of course they have a generator. And they probably know how to maintain it too. I stand there for what feels like an hour just watching that light, that beacon. The worst of the storm passes. The wind dies down to a manageable roar. The light in the workshop remains. And then I see movement. The big garage door rolls up. The light spills out into the flooded street. A few figures emerge. They're wearing rain gear. One of them starts up a chainsaw. I can hear the buzz faintly over the wind. I watch, mesmerized, as Ronald, Dennis, and two other men start methodically cutting up a massive tree that has fallen and blocked the main road. They move like a team. They know what they're doing. No one is shouting orders. They just seem to understand the task and their role in it. While they work, another two men from the workshop get in that old pickup truck. They drive slowly through the flooded streets. They don't go far. They go to the little house where the old lady lives. They go inside to check on her. A few minutes later, they come out and start securing a loose shutter on her window. They are not waiting for the city to fix things. They are not waiting for permission. They are the first responders. They are the infrastructure. My phone buzzes. It's Sarah. Can you believe this? I've been on hold with the power company for 45 minutes. This is a total failure of the system. I look from my phone to the scene outside my window. The men have almost cleared the road. The system did fail, but it doesn't matter to them. They're not dependent on the system. They are their own system. I don't reply to Sarah. I just turn off my phone. I sit in the dark and watch them work until the batteries in my binoculars die. The next morning, the world is a wreck. The power is still out. The streets are littered with branches and debris, but the sun is shining. I make a cup of coffee on my gas stove, one of the few things that still works. I look out the window. The world is slowly coming back to life. City crews are out. People are emerging from their homes to survey the damage. And then I see the pickup truck. It drives slowly down my street. Ronald is driving. Dennis is in the passenger seat. They aren't celebrating. They aren't resting. They're working. They have a pump in the back of the truck. They stop at a house where the basement is clearly flooded and start helping the owner. As they pass my building, Dennis glances up. His eyes scan the windows and, for a second, they meet mine. There's no anger, no triumph, no, "I told you so." There's nothing. It's the look you give a stranger, a building, a tree. He doesn't recognize me, not really. He recognizes the shape of his sister, but the person who inhabits that shape is a foreigner to him now. They don't speak the same language. He looks away and says something to Ronald. They both laugh. The truck keeps moving down the street, on to the next problem that needs fixing. And I am left behind. I go back to my laptop. The battery is at 12%. I open my blog. I look at my most popular posts. Men are broken. The myth of the self-sufficient man. Why vulnerability is the new strength. It's all garbage. A fantasy I told myself because it was more comfortable than the truth. The truth is they're not broken. They just operate on a different frequency. They were told the rules of the modern world were broken, that the game was rigged, so they didn't try to rig it back. They didn't protest. They didn't write angry articles. They just quit the game. They picked up their tools and built a new one, a smaller, quieter, more durable one. A world where value is measured in what you can do, not in what you can say. A world where competence is the only currency that matters. And in that world, I am bankrupt. I highlight the text of my latest draft, all 2,000 words of it. I press the delete key. Then I close the laptop. The power is still out. My apartment is silent. The problem wasn't that men were broken. The problem was me. I just couldn't see the solution. They didn't need fixing. They just needed to be left alone.